Have you ever been walking around your favorite D&D campaign when suddenly you make one bad move and end up locked in an unwinnable fight because you did something stupid? I've been the dungeon master and the player in situations like this, goading my party into fighting an enemy in his own arena where he had 30 years of Batman prep time, or that other time where I kidnapped a wealthy noble and carried him over my shoulder through an alleyway during heavy guard activity, I think because we set his villa on fire. Both times, stupid mistakes. Both times, a death. But it's never over until your character is 6 feet under the ground, and even then it's still iffy. But where strength and speed will probably fail you, especially in those early levels, cleverness comes in clutch. I really like that Polyphemus clip that showed up on TikTok recently from a concept album covering the whole of the Odyssey.
You killed my sheep.
And also Dungeon Dad's recent video got me thinking, both about Cyclopes again, and also how Wizards of the Coast fucking hates me. Where's my preview copy of the monster manual? Where's the love? Anyway, I was gonna do an encounter framed the same way that Odysseus encountered Polyphemus, with 12 little men in a cave and an angry giant, but I realized that there's no feasible way they could win that fight, especially considering the island was filled with other giants in other caves who could have come running at any time. 12 men versus 12 giants, or even 3, are not good odds at all. But if you have read through their dealing with it, just like literally every feat Odysseus performs is fucking immaculate. That shit was as enjoyable as all the cheese they ended up stealing from that giant. Sheep cheese. Let me lay out the situation. 12 guys go into a cheese cave to gather provisions. They do so until the owner, a 15-foot tall shepherd with one eye in the center of his face and a tree trunk for his staff, brings all of his sheep back. He then does what is considered probably a top 3 dungeon master taboo, and closes the cave entrance with a Jesus-style boulder. He then proceeds to, with incredible ease, gobble up 2 of the party members for Din-Din. So in this situation, it's as clear as day that you can't escape, you cannot survive a direct attack, you can't eat more of his food, and he plans on eating every one of you over time. Without any semblance of even footing, the party leader, Odysseus, tries to buddy up to the guy that just ate 2 of his homies, and fails. The Cyclops then promises to eat everybody. As part of his mostly failed parlay, Odysseus offers the giant the last of their wine in hopes of getting him drunk, and then he gaslights the guy with a classic fake name of No Man or Nobody. Then he waits for the drunk giant to pass out before stabbing the guy's eye out with a fragment of his own weapon. For some parties, having an enemy who is poisoned, blinded, abandoned by his allies, and surrounded by his beloved babies is a much better start to a presumably lethal fight. But this is an encounter. It's not a death match, and they're only here for resources. More potential deaths during combat is a much greater loss to these guys, and some dead enemies have vengeful friends. So they just wait until the giant goes to the entrance to literally rescue his sheep from these malicious intruders. He also pulls a little goalie pose to catch any of the sailors escaping, patting his sheep as they leave. My party would have ridden those motherfuckers out and gotten caught immediately, but our hero is capable of waiting and watching. So they do the silly little gamble where they somehow ride the sheep upside down and successfully escape. Since stabbing a sleeping foe is an automatic critical hit, the crew managed to escape an overwhelmingly deadly situation without ever rolling initiative. Meanwhile, in my most recent session as a dungeon master, my party entered a diplomatic audience with a bit of a haughty dwarven king. The death toll was 18 dwarven guards, 2 halflings, a nobleman, and the king himself. They then went on to assassinate his wife and son at their estate 6 hours later. Different strokes, I guess. I kinda miss being a player.